In the previous video, we learned about properties and types. Now let's explore one of QML's most powerful features, property bindings. Bindings allow you to create dynamic relationships between properties, making your interfaces reactive and interactive without writing complex update logic. A property binding specifies relationships between object properties so that when one value changes, it automatically updates dependent properties. This is what makes QML interfaces so dynamic and responsive. In this example, the rectangle's height is bound to the window's height. Therefore, any changes in the window's height will automatically reevaluate the rectangle's height. You can see how the rectangle grows and shrinks as we resize the window, all without writing any update logic. A binding can contain any valid JavaScript expression or statement, as QML uses a standards-compliant JavaScript engine. Bindings can access object properties, call methods, and use built-in JavaScript objects such as date and math. Let's look at some examples of what you can do with bindings. In this next example, the rectangle's height is set to the minimum of the parent's width or height, whichever value is smaller. We can also use ternary operators in bindings. If the parent height exceeds 300, the rectangle height equals the parent height. Otherwise, the rectangle height is half the parent height. You can even use if-else statements in your bindings. This conditional statement defines that if the parent height exceeds 300, the rectangle height equals the parent height. Otherwise, the rectangle height is half the parent height. And you can call methods to calculate values. Here we're calling a function that returns the height value. Here's something important to watch out for. Property bindings break if the property is later assigned a static value from a JavaScript statement. In this example, we define a window as the root object and a rectangle as its child object. We assign static values for the root, 640 for width and 480 for height. The child rectangle, on the other hand, has a binding expression. The height property is bound to half the window's height. However, the binding is broken in the onWithChanged handler due to a JavaScript assignment. Notice we're using the equals sign here. This is an imperative assignment that breaks the binding. Now that we understand how property bindings create reactive interfaces, let's explore how applications respond to user input and events. In the next video, we'll dive into QML's signal and event handler system, the communication mechanism that makes interactive applications possible.